What's up, y'all? I'm Shawn,
And I'm Kenya.
and we are taking for ransom. Today, we're going to talk about blended families. But first, what are you drinking, honey?
I am drinking tea.
I'm drinking water because I poured all the tea in her cup. But we did get these nice
Yes.
Mr. and Mrs. cups. I don't know if you guys can see it. Mine says Mr.
And mine says Mrs.
We got it for our wedding off our what's it called? Yeah, off our registry. That's the word I was thinking of.
And we don't know who gave it to us, but if you see this video and you know you gave it to us, thank you. And
Thank
then let
you.
us know.
Yes, thank you. We really appreciate it. And they're
Absolutely.
really nice too.
Yeah, thank you.
So, blended families.
Blended families.
When people hear blended families, they tend to just think kids.
Yeah.
It's way, way deeper than that. So, what we wanted to talk about is the other side of blended families. So, when people join together, the families are becoming one.
Absolutely.
But it's like at the ceremony, that's just a figure of speech. That's just, people just look over that, like, okay, those are our in-laws now.
Yeah.
But you don't understand, like, you really have to embrace them and their, what's the word? Their
Differences?
their differences,
Yeah.
their customs,
Yeah.
their behaviors, and it could be drastically different
Yeah.
from what you're used to. And also, we're realizing we were raised two completely different
Two
ways.
completely different ways.
And that's something about marriage that a lot of people don't really talk about.
I think, wait a minute. So, like, you remember we talked about transitions in our marriage for the first year. We've been married almost a year and a half in February, so we don't have like 10 or 15 years on our belt. However, we had a lot of transitions in the first year and a half. And one of those transitions was blending the two families together. And like Shawn said, it wasn't just kids, but blending the two families together, like how he grew up, how I grew up, what I feel like, it's supposed to go, and what he feels like. It was a total shocker. Can we just say, like,
was a shocker.
Let's talk about shocker of a transition in our marriage, and we're still getting like used to it. It has
We're
to be a
still
lot
learning.
of listen. It's a lot of compromise on his side, and it's a lot of compromise on my side, just because we were brought up totally different. So
Totally different.
one of the things, what's one of the things that you feel like we had to compromise on when it comes to blended families? Like, I have a huge family. I have a huge family. And me and my family, we're very close. Like, we're close. We talk a lot. I'm more of the commerce side of my family. But then once you get through all of them, you get the little hype ones, you get the loud ones, you get the you get that ones. So
My family only has two of those. In the entire family, there are two.
yeah.
And that is my mama and my sister. Those are only two.
And see, and I got
Everybody.
don't do my family. Don't do my family. It's not everybody. It's a couple of, but it's not everybody.
It's everybody minus three.
But we like to get together for holidays. For holidays, it's not just
So, her family will get together, and I'll take, I forgot which holiday it was, but everybody had came over to our house. We just got our apartment, everybody coming over. We said, okay, cool, we'll host it. So, everybody's over, we laughing, we having fun. My social battery dies after a certain amount of time, no matter where we're at. It's like, okay, I'm done. I'm ready to go. But everybody's over, laughing, having a good time and stuff, and I'm still interacting and everything. So after a while, I come over and sit next to Kenya. And Kenya's sister says, "It's okay, Shawn. We ain't gonna hurt you. You over there by your wife trying to be safe." I'm like, I'm good. She was like, "You gonna get used to us." And me and Kenya talked about it after everybody left because they was at the house for a while.
So our family gatherings is not like a 2-hour gathering. Like if we get together around 12, we ain't leaving each other until like midnight, like midnight at 1 o'clock, right? And then so the first time I went to Shawn's like family picnic, they had Labor Day. They started like at 12. They were like ready to go at 3. And so I asked Shawn, I'm like, "So where we going after this?" And he's like, I'm like, "This early? Like I'm not used to."
See, and that's how my family is. We love each other.
Yeah.
But my family, for one, isn't as big as her family. My grandma only had 2 kids.
And my grandmother had 11.
Yeah, see, my grandma had 2 kids, so it's us, and I have 4 siblings, and then we have 2 other cousins. So that's 7 of us. 7 of us in my generation. Yeah. Then, you know, we have our kids, but we ain't counting them yet. But it's only 7 of us. And her generation, it's what, 20 of y'all?
Yeah, it's a lot of us.
For your generation. So, yeah, Kenya's right. We started at like noon. We laughed, had fun. It wasn't 3. It was like 5.
It was still early.
And we're ready to go. Like, okay, love you, had a good time. And I think it's partially, I can't even say that. I was about to say it's partially because, you know, we have our own families now, and, you know, we get tired. But you can't even use that as an excuse because her family, they have their own families, and they still hear kids and all. Kids running around. But
don't keep talking about my family.
I'm just saying the comparisons.
It's a big difference. And I think we've had, I don't want to say arguments, but we kind of had some of the disagreements. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, me asking him, like, what's wrong with you? Like, you don't want my family to come over here? Like, what's your issue?
And
like, what is
that
it?
That is a disagreement we've had because she would think that, you know, I didn't want them to come over or things like that. It's like, it's just going to take me a while to get used to it. And for a while, you know, I thought I wasn't getting used to it fast enough because I didn't want her family to feel like I was standoffish and things. Like when we first got together, they were like, "Is he okay? He don't talk." But you know, now I'm warmed up and I talk to everybody associated. You know, it just took me a while because my family isn't so. I'm not gonna say they're not welcoming, but they're not as welcoming so fast. Yeah.
This is my thing. I am and not to say you're not, but I am a family person. Like when I grew up, we were around each other all the time. My grandmother's house was like the central house where we all went. And a lot of times now we're older, like I feel sad sometimes that we don't do those type of things because I'm so used to it. So like when they come over, when my family come over, I love that. Like I enjoy that. I feed off that because I'm so used to sleeping on the floor, like sleeping over here, sleeping over there. One day Shawn was like, "Well, where everybody gonna sleep?" I'm like, "Trust me, my family is, we're gonna find somewhere to sleep." Like I'm used to stuff like that. So I think
I'm not.
Yeah.
Because like I said, it was only 7 of us. I mean, you can include extended family and things like that, people that married into the family. But even then, on my side, that only adds up to like 15. It's still not that many of us. So it's
a transition.
It is a transition.
And it's a big, like, I don't think people talk about it as much. I think they think it's just about blended up children, but it's a lot of blended other families too together, come together because we got holidays. You know, it's just a lot that, you know, people don't talk about.
Another blend is different, I don't want to say cultures, but different habits and traditions.
Absolutely.
Like, she eats sugar on her grits. I eat salt on my grits. She puts sliced cheese in her spaghetti. I only do Parmesan cheese.
Sliced cheese, like sausage.
I don't.
All that.
She puts sausage in her spaghetti. I only do ground beef.
Yeah.
I only put ground beef in my spaghetti. She puts ketchup in the counter.
Yeah.
I put it in the fridge. She puts hot sauce in the counter.
Mm-hmm.
I put it in the fridge. She puts peanut butter in the fridge. I put it in the counter. It's little things like that you don't even think about.
And I'm asking him, like, why are you doing that? He's like, well, this is how. I'm like, well, this is how. Like, and it's little stuff like that. Like, honestly, it's little stuff like that.
Like, it's not deal breakers, but right. It's still like,
why are you doing that?
It's still like, I didn't sign up for this. Who puts peanut butter in the fridge?
I do.
And I love you. I love you. But it's little things like that you don't even think about before you get married. Like, this woman is so fine. She does everything right. She loves me. She lets me be who I am. She says I look nice. She compliments me. She gives me our words of affirmation. Shout out to the last video. She does everything right. But why is she putting the peanut butter in the fridge? I can't. I can't do it. That's it. You know what? I'm done. I can't do this no more. That's just too much. I'll do anything for love, but I won't do that.
I don't know. I just think that another difference between us is just how we talk to each other. He doesn't talk to me any type of way, but I'm saying like how we receive. Like Shawn is a very straightforward person. Give it to you real straightforward, raw,
that's how I was raised.
No chaser, anything. Me, you better talk to me nice. Like it's a certain way that, I mean, I don't care if you tell me. I think we was talking about it today. Like, yo, I prefer you to be straightforward with me. I prefer you to tell me stuff, but I also want you to tell me stuff in a way that I can receive it. Because if you like, nah, you can't just say anything to me and think you're gonna get it.
And when she first told me that, I looked at her like she was crazy.
She was like, this is how I grew up. I don't care how you
because
grew
the way
up.
she explained it made absolutely no sense to me.
Yeah.
Here's an example. Going back to the peanut butter in the fridge, as you can tell, that really irritated me because I'm going to keep bringing it up. Because who does that?
Me.
So, for example, I could say, Kenya, don't you think the peanut butter should go in the cabinet? And she won't receive it that way. But if I say, Kenya, have you thought about putting the peanut butter in the cabinet? She'll receive it. Now, those are two totally different things for her. But for me, I'm like, it's the same thing. Put the peanut butter in the cabinet. But I have to do it in a way that she receives it. Whether it makes sense to me or not, I still have to do it in a way that she's going to receive it, or else she's going to, not receive it the right way, and that can create disagreements and things like that will do a slippery slope to something that doesn't need to be.
Yeah.
Because I was raised by my grandmother, and she was a very straightforward person. She used to tell it how it is. You don't like it? Oh well. Your feelings got hurt? Oh well, toughen up. Your feelings shouldn't be that easily to be hurt. That's how I was raised.
And he thinks he can bring that into this, and it's like, nah, that's not.
Like, we were raised that
totally different.
You're not going to survive in this world with thick skin. Like, I was actually raised thinking that a boy crying is weakness.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not physically hurt, there's no reason for you to be crying unless you are physically hurt. Anything else, suck it up, deal with it, and move on. That's how I was raised.
And so let's talk about that a little bit too. Like, okay, so raising of children, the difference with that. Like, if you looked at our first video of how we met, mentioned that I have a nephew. His name is Anthony. And the way that before Shawn came into our lives, like, I treated him a certain way. I took care of him a certain way. So when Shawn came around, it was a lot different because Shawn brought in a lot of what he learned, into our home. So that was a difference. That was a whole nother transition as well. So if we want to talk about children, that's a transition of bringing in both our lives, like it's two total different lives of where we grew up in, and then bringing in trying to raise children as well, especially when it's a child that has been in the home with me the whole time, and then it's somebody else that come in that's different.
And especially us being raised with two different backgrounds. Like, I was raised in, I guess, a old school traditional type setting. If me and my siblings were playing in the front room and my grandfather came home, like I said, I was raised by my grandmother. If he came home, all kids need to get out the front room, go outside or go to another room or someplace so he could sit in front of the TV, and all the kids need to be quiet. And now, things have changed because her family wasn't raised that way. Kids are going to be kids. They're going to be loud, they're going to play. But so that, I guess, when we first got together, that was different to me. When I saw, Anthony being loud and stuff like that, I'm like, he can do that? Because I wasn't allowed to do that. So even though I'm a 32-year-old man, it still catches me off guard. Like, what, kids are allowed to do that? Because most of my friends that I grew up with were raised the same way I was. Like, we grew up, yes sir, no sir. If I called my grandparents, said yes, yes, what you mean yes? We had to say yes ma'am, no ma'am, things like that. So like I say, even though I'm grown, it still caught me off guard. Like, people were actually raised like that. When she told me how she grew up, yeah, we could run in the house and things like that. I'm like, y'all could run in the house.
But we weren't disrespectful, though.
No, they weren't disrespectful.
Anthony not disrespectful.
No, he's not disrespectful at all. But they weren't raised as strictly as I was.
And he say strictly, like, he make it seem like just because we could run and y'all could, then that was strict. Like, that doesn't mean strict. We both were raised, like, we were differently raised, but however, my mother was strict as well. My parents were strict.
They were
like,
just strict in
different ways.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't do certain things maybe you could have done. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like your family was stricter than mine. It was just, a certain
because I could be outside until the street lights came on.
I couldn't. That was no way I was going to be outside. No, absolutely not.
I would wake up in the morning on summer vacation. Okay, I'm going around the corner of the Ken house, and I would be gone, and my curfew was when the street lights come on.
No.
Kenny, on the other hand, was raised differently.
Yeah. I couldn't leave the porch.
Yeah. And we were raised in two different neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Two different surroundings, two different backgrounds, but yet here we are together trying to take a mixture of how we were raised, the good, the bad, and put it together. It's small things like doors closed in the house.
Small things.
I think that was one of the first things that we realized, because me growing up, my grandparents' door was closed. Like, they would interact with us, but after a certain time, I'll say maybe around 6 o'clock, my grandparents would go to the room and the door would be closed. We would be playing, minding our own business. And if we needed anything, which we normally shouldn't, we would knock on the door, and it better be something good that you're knocking on that door for.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I closed the door, Kenya, Shawn, what you closing the door for?
Like,
the kids are right there.
Right.
And I'm like, what you mean?
Yeah. I didn't grow up like that. I grew up where the door was open. How our house was, it was their doors were, the bedroom was in the front, and then ours was in the back, and there was another one. So after a certain time, we wouldn't go up there anyway, but the door was always open. So when Shawn closed that door, like, I completely it was like, why? It's kids in here. Why are you closing doors? Like, I was so mad at him. Like, why are you closing doors?
He was very mad.
I was upset because it's like, you can't close, in my eyes, you can't close doors while kids in there. We got 5 and 6 kids. What you closing doors for? My nieces, nephews all over here. It's like, no, why are you closing doors? And that's like small differences that,
you
like,
okay, baby?
No, I'm saying, because I'm only saying it because small differences like this could have really broke us. And I know people say like that ain't real small, but when you can't get on one accord with one another, when you can't communicate with one another, when you don't have the other person fighting for, just the marriage, small things like that can really, really destroy a marriage. And like I said, we've only been married for a year and a half. And so if we did not decide to communicate and say, hey, these are some big differences, and small but big, and in the long run could be, and we need to sit down and come to a common ground, then it could have really went a whole nother way. That's why I'm a little hyped, because I understand like it really could have been another way,
because that's when compromise comes
Absolutely.
in. Because I could have came in, well, I'm the man of the house, so the house is going to be ran how the house was ran when I was a kid.
Yeah.
When I come home, every kid better be quiet. I can close the door if I want to. I could have done like that, but then Kenya would have started to resent me for it, because that would have meant I'm not taking her opinions into consideration. That would have showed her that I'm shunning Anthony because the doors are closed. That would have showed that I don't care about how she feels about anything, and that's why compromise in a marriage is 100% necessary.
So how we compromise with the door thing, and this is just one example, is that we will keep the door open in the daytime at all times, but after a certain time we'll shut it. And I will let the kids know, like, hey, I'm shutting this door. You have to knock on. You have to knock on the door. If you don't need anything, don't knock on this door. If you don't need anything, but during the day, the door, I would like the door to be open, so that's one of the compromises that we did when it comes to that.
And it took a while for me to adjust to that. I'm still adjusting.
He closed the door the other day. I was like, why is you closing this door? I told you don't close this door, but
I'm still adjusting to that. But like she said, that's when compromise comes in. Now, if only we can compromise on this peanut butter.
Just put it in the cabinet. I don't care. I don't eat peanut butter anyway. It don't matter.
So then why are you choosing where it goes?
Do you put the groceries up?
I help you. I help you put the groceries up every time.
Shawn, stop.
Every time.
Okay. All right.
Another thing that you have to deal with blended families, concerning just the two of us, is money. We have two different spending habits. Now, traditionally, everybody, the woman be spending everything, because, me and Kenny got good paying jobs where we have enough. But they think...
Thank God.
Amen. So, the woman's spending everything now. It's me.
It's Shawn. It's not me. I'm not the one on Amazon. I'm not...
My Amazon cart has $8,000 worth of things in there.
And he thinks he's about to get $8,000 today. Shawn's like...
But it's things that are worth it. Like, it's $8,000, but there are only 16 items in my cart. It's camera gear.
Shawn, he
I'm
wants
trying
to do
justify it.
No, you can't. So, for example, we want a new car. Right, Shawn over here, he wants a new car, but he wants to get the car like tomorrow. I'm like, no, we have to plan for this thing. Like, we cannot just go spend. But if I would allow him to.
And she's not lying. One day, I had saw a car at a lot, and they said, okay, it's a $2,000 down payment. It was a used car, $2,000 down. I'm like, babe, I'm about to go put this $2,000 down on this car. She said, you about to what?
I mean, I don't care if we do got it in the bank. Wait, what? Like, what kind of stuff? Blended of mindsets when it comes to money. Shawn will blow some money if I allow him to blow it. And I don't even think he realizes. I have to tell him sometimes, hey, no, not right now. Like, we can get it, but we have to have a mindset of we have to plan to get it. I don't care if we got it in the bank right now. We have to plan for this thing. Like, this is not...
And I think it's because when I was younger, I didn't I didn't get an allowance or anything. I had to, work for my money. I had to go cut the grass, and my grandparents would give me money for doing stuff like that. So I would make $20 stretch for like 3 weeks because the grass would only be cut every week. So I would have that $20 and that had to be it, and I would make it stretch for so long.
We're gonna make our money stretching in.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
Let me finish my story. I could make $20 stretch for like 3 weeks. Then I went into the military and started making, money. Military, I was making almost $6,000 a month. So I started developing big spending habits. I mean, I went and bought a MacBook Pro and an iPhone 4 back at the time. Outright at the same time, and together that was about $2,500, and I paid it in cash.
Impulsive spender.
That's it.
Impulsive.
I am an impulsive spender, but I've gotten a lot better. When we first moved together, it was an Amazon package at this door every day.
What is going on? Like, what did you buy? Like, what is like
every day? Every
day, and I had to like really sit him down and be like, "Yo, we have a future. We cannot have a future off of your impulsiveness. Like this is crazy. We can't.
So I've gotten a lot better. Also, if you saw the last video, I was buying her gifts.
And then he'll ask me, and then I'll be like, Shawn, that's too much. Even if it's for me, that's too much. Plan for that. If you want to get it, I'm all for it. I just feel like we just got to plan for stuff. I don't want to just do stuff just to be doing it. And then we like, oh, okay, we could have, no, if you would have planned for it, then we would have got it.
And it's kind of good to have a woman that's not impressed by how much things cost. Because she's right. She'll tell me something's too much. Like I wanted to buy her something and it costs like $400. She said, Shawn, no. just no.
For what? Like we can get it, but you ain't gonna do it today. Like
she said, even if we have the money, like she wants a pair of Jordans. We had the money, but she said, I don't need those right now.
Yeah.
If she had not said that, I would have pressed add to cart, buy, boom, right there and there. So she knew to tell me in advance, do not buy this right now.
Yeah.
I'm just putting this bug in your ear that I want them. So it is good that she knows how to say no to something, and I am getting better.
So now we are planning for him to get a car, another car. Like we're planning for him. He asks. I'm like, cool. I had to let him know, Shawn, we can't get it today, but let's plan for it. What month do you want to get it in? Okay, so you want to get it in March. Okay, this is how much we need to save each check, or this is what we need to put aside so we can go ahead and do it. So we won't be struggling in the area. Like, we won't be thinking we got something in the bank and we don't. It's just things that we need to do on our part. I don't care what everybody else is doing. The ransoms we're planning over here, and we're making sure that our family is okay. We got kids, we got futures. I have my own business. Shawn has his own business. Like we have so much going on, and if we don't plan for it, then we can't do it. And I'm just sorry. Like I'm sorry.
I appreciate you, baby. Though you don't have to be sorry. It's needed.
Okay.
It's really needed. If I would have had somebody like her by my side years ago, I wouldn't have gotten any debt. I remember I was 19 years old, fresh out of boot camp, got stationed in D.C., and what did I do?
What you do?
I went to the car lot, perfect credit, in the military, so I know they about to give me what I want. I went in there, it was 2010. I went and bought a brand new 2011 Impala, took out a loan for $35,000. Brand new. All the bells and whistles. Drove off that lot, 19 years old. I thought I was the coldest cat in the barn.
In that now.
Credit acceptance is looking for me.
See? Like, nah.
And I don't even have the car anymore. The car broke down.
Impulsive Vendor.
I think because I bought the car in 2010. I had it for 2 years because I went to Japan. Then my
Only
sister.
2 years?
Yeah, because no, that's not how long. I drove it for 2 years because in 2012 I got sent to Japan, so I let my sister do it. My sister used it. Then when I came back in 2015, she gave it back to me. She got another car, but between 2015 and 2017, the car just broke down. So I don't even have the car anymore, but yet I still have that debt.
Blending together. Two different mindsets, two different ways of thinking, and two ways of looking at things. But again, it goes back to compromise, like him understanding where I'm coming from and him accepting it, and him even being willing to be like, you know what, you're right. And sometimes I even with that I'll let him do it just so that it won't be no big purchases. But if he if he want to just buy something, I'll like say, okay, go ahead, Shawn. If it's like $40-$50 or something like that, I'll let it just so he can feel good about himself, so I can compromise as well. So it's little things like that. I really thank God for my husband, honestly. Because I don't have a husband that's not going to work with me, that's not going to, listen to my side and not going to compromise. I thank God for him because, like, we're in it together, and I know that we're in it together, even when I have a little funky attitude. Like, like he'd be really in it, and I'd be like, no, I'm not in it today. But my husband is really, really for this marriage and for me. And that means a lot. So not only are we a blended, family, we're blended of just trying to get this thing together. Like, we're not trying to get divorced next year. We're not trying to get divorced 10 years from now, 15 years. Like, we're in this forever. And so there's going to be a lot of blended that we're going to have to do. And I'm pretty sure the first year is just the beginning.
And we've gone through things in this year and a half that could have ended in divorce.
Yeah.
Like, I know couples that have ended for less.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're just committed to, like, divorce is not an option.
Yeah, it's absolutely not an option. We'll
go to counseling before we go to the courts.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good. That was good.
Yeah, write that down.
I want to just say, just making sure that people know that blending family is not just all about kids. Yeah. It's so much more. It's blending of families. It's blending of money. It's blending of mindsets. It's blending of just trying to make sure that we're both on the same page, and just being on one accord. I mean, we may not always agree, but we always have to come to a common ground so that we can live in this home peacefully. And I try my best to make this home as peaceful as possible for my husband. So.
And
yeah.
I try to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, if I had a bad day at work, I'm not going to bring that bad day to her. She didn't do anything wrong. She's supposed to be my peace, not my punching bag.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to lash out on her because I'm not in a good mood.
And we're still learning, y'all, like, for real. Like, when I tell y'all we still learning, we're still bumping our heads, we're still, like, saying, dang, I ain't mean to say that to you. Or, dang.
But we're getting better.
Yeah, we're getting better, but we still are learning, and we're still, like I said, we're still bumping our heads. We're still bumping our heads and getting back up and saying, hey, we messed up. Like, so let's come to this common ground, because you ain't going nowhere, and I ain't going nowhere, so let's fix this. So, yeah.
We appreciate you for listening to our video. We really enjoy talking about these things, hoping that it could help somebody out there, whether you're single, you're dating, married for a week, or married for 20 years.
Yeah.
We're all in this forever learning experience. That's what marriage is. It's just a continual learning experience. And when you go through something in your marriage, talk about it if you feel comfortable, because somebody else might be going through that exact same thing, and hearing how you got through it might be able to help them figure out how they're going to get through it as well. So thank you for watching our video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Get your friends to subscribe.
Please.
Hit the notification bell So you'll see when we get our next upload. And until next time, we out.